Welcome to today's Premier Experts, your one-stop shop to find industry experts in a variety of niches. My name is Ray Perez, and I'm a global branding expert. I travel the world speaking to entrepreneurs and business owners, and we've created this show to take advantage of their wealth of knowledge. I interview experts across different fields to learn what has made them become successful. When you interview people from a wide range of industries, those points of views brought together can create massive success for your business. Welcome to today's Premier Experts. I'm your host, Ray Perez, and today's special guest is Dr. Andrea Mills, who is a health enhancement expert, better known as the Detox Doctor. But before we get into the interview, we have a special segment called $1 Million Mindset. This is where we get the opportunity to ask high-level CEOs what it takes to reach 7 figures and beyond. Check it out.
Hi, I'm Michael Houlihan. I'm the founder of Barefoot Wine, which is now the largest wine brand in the world. And since selling it to E&J Gallo, I help businesses achieve the same kind of success that we achieved. When I started out, I was working for one of the largest bureaucracies in the world, which is the United States federal government. And I'm waiting for my boss to die so I could get a promotion. And so finally one day I quit, and my Irish grandmother said, "But Michael, you're losing all that security." And I thought, well, I'd be losing my life if I stayed there. So here I was, on the street. I didn't have a job. It wasn't long, though, before people started coming to me and say, "Hey, you used to work for the Fed. I'm trying to get something done through the federal government. And it's like pushing mud uphill with a chopstick in the rain. Can you help me?" And so I said, "Sure, I know how to work with those bureaucrats." So I started to help client after client. Finally, I got to a point where I realized that I could live anywhere. I didn't have to live in San Francisco. I could actually move to the wine country, which is where I always vacationed and loved it anyway. You got the river, you got the beaches, you got the redwood trees, you got the wonderful wineries and the vineyards and everything else. So I moved up there and I started taking in clients. Well, one of the clients that I took in hadn't been paid for his grapes for like 3 years in a row. And I took a look at him and I said, "Oh my God, I'll go talk to the winery that owes you the money for your grapes and see what I can work out." So I went there to negotiate for the guy, and all I could get was bulk wine and bottling services, no money. So that's how Barefoot Wine gets started. It gets started on a debt. It isn't even mine. It's someone else's debt. And wind up trading the debt for goods and services. But then, of course, got to come up with a marketing program, come up with a name, come up with a label, penetrate the market, all that stuff. So here I am, kind of a business consultant, looking at the wine industry with non-wine industry eyes. So I'm looking at it in terms of like common sense and good business. And of course, there's a lot of things going on in the industry that are just like random, right? And a lot of government control. So it was an uphill fight. It took us 20 years to build the Barefoot brand. And in the process, we learned a lot. And that's what we teach now. We teach the principles that we learn that are really applicable to any business. The biggest mistake that I made going into business is the same mistake that almost all entrepreneurs make. We were selling our wine in Hawaii, and we thought, well, Hawaii is perfect. Everybody's running around barefoot. You're on the beach in Hawaii. You see nothing but bare feet. Half the bars are called Barefoot, so we thought, this is perfect. So we start selling our wine in Hawaii, and oh my God, everybody takes it. So I go back to San Francisco, and a month goes by, there's no reorder. Another month goes by, no reorder. Finally, my partner Bonnie says, "You better go back and check that out." So I go back and check it out. Guess what? It was sold out everywhere. And so I said, "Hey, what if it happened to Barefoot?" And they said, "Oh, well, it's sold out." I said, "Sold out?" I said, "Why didn't you reorder it?" "Oh, well, your distributor was selling something else and they were getting a spiff on that." So they were glad that you were sold out because they only get a certain amount of space in the store. So they put that product in your space. I said, fantastic. It's like lesson, right? So I went back to Hawaii. We sold it again. There were still no reorders. Went back, sold it again, no reorders. In other words, the only time it would sell in Hawaii was when I personally sold it. So finally my partner says, you're not going to Hawaii anymore. Forget the tan mic, put on your shoes, all I got out of it was the puka shells. But we stayed out of Hawaii for 2 years because we couldn't afford to put a representative in the market because we never dreamed about the cost of sales. So the biggest mistake that people make, they know the cost of goods, but they don't know the cost of sales.
What I like best about Brand in 2 Days is being able to intermingle with so many experts in whatever their specific spaces are.
The fact that I literally went from not knowing what direction to go in, how to present myself. I was just completely lost, and now I'm focused and I'm very clear about what I need to do, and that's life-changing for me.
A brand in 2 days is amazing because you literally brand in 2 days. So there's none of this back and forth. It was just such a gift to be able to actually get it done there.
The whole experience of being with business owners and entrepreneurs.
And it's not just the education. You walk away with actual branding material, photography, videography, your own 360 site. The types of people that can benefit from Brand in 2 Days are people like authors, consultants, speakers.
Anyone who is really the face of their business.
Anyone that's in the coaching industry.
And really anyone who wants to build a strong presence on social media.
Welcome back to today's Premier Experts. Next on the show is a special segment called Small Business Big Ideas. This is where we travel the country with the Small Business Expo, interviewing attendees and sponsors on their thoughts and experiences on a variety of topics.
What comes to mind when I hear holistic medicine is alternative solutions for problems that aren't solved in a conventional manner.
To me, it means finding ways to better myself, better my body, and do it in a way where I'm not taking in chemicals. I'm able to naturally heal.
Anything natural, anything holistic is preferred before, westernized medicine. So, I grew up with my mom teaching me about, plants and kind of oils and teas, and kind of taking those approaches before you do anything that could be, seen as harmful to your body.
The biggest benefit for me about holistic medicine is the fact that it doesn't just treat the symptom, it treats the cause, which I'm all about, and they take the person, they look at the whole person as opposed to just, again, the symptom, and what is it that contributed to this happening. So that I value majorly, because then you're actually really helping the person as opposed to just giving someone a short-term fix.
Yeah, I had massive health issues, so huge amount of stress and overwhelm building businesses since I was 16 years old, and lots of anxiety. Actually, I started when I was 9, so doing lawn care and stuff, but then when I built a business, like a marketing and an illustration business, and that was really early on, I got huge anxiety and stress and got really busy and focused on making money and focused on, how am I gonna make this work? And it was all about the money, right? It was all about growing and how am I gonna make this work? And the congestion in my life turned into congestion in my body. So I called every doctor I could. I ended up in the emergency room. I ended up being unable to breathe, just huge amounts of stress. And by looking at the whole picture, I was able to heal the symptoms by dealing with the root cause.
Aloha, I'm Dr. Andrea Mills, the detox doctor, and I am your health enhancement expert. The need for detoxing in this day and age, there's toxins everywhere in your air, food, water, environment, personal care products, clothing, even jewelry is toxic. So everyone needs help detoxing on a cellular level. One of my patients was really concerned at the detox retreat that she was going to be hungry because we fast at the detox retreat. It means we don't eat. And here she was on the 4th day and she hadn't eaten anything in 4 days, and she was not hungry at all and could not believe it. All of her aches and pains were gone, inflammation was gone, she was sleeping better, and she had started to drop excess weight very easily. What's different about my detoxing is we detox physically, yes, but we also detox mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, on all different levels. To connect with me, go to my website, drandreamills360.com.
The health enhancement expert, better known as the Detox Doctor. She also happens to be a 20-year U.S. Army veteran who believes in the original definition of a doctor, one who teaches, not just one who prescribes. Using the holistic body, mind, and spiritual approach, Dr. Mills uses her education in quantum physics and neuroscience to help patients detox their thoughts, actions, and behaviors. So let's dive right into the interview with our special guest, Dr. Andrea Mills. Welcome to the show, Dr. Andrea.
Hey, aloha, Ray. Thanks for having me today.
It's a pleasure to have you here. I know you traveled all the way from Hawaii, which is absolutely amazing. Can't wait to come visit you. Can you share a little bit about what is a health enhancement expert like yourself do?
Yes, I am known as the Detox Doctor, and that's because we unquestionably live in a toxic world. But we don't have to live in a toxic body. And so what I do through a process called detoxing is I rid the body of the toxins that are accumulated in your body and brain.
Amazing, amazing. And I heard the aloha in the beginning.
Yeah.
So can you explain the aloha for those of us that...
I do live in Hawaii on the island of Maui, and I just think it's so beautiful and relaxing there. And I had lived a toxic life myself, so I wanted to find a pristine place to just enjoy and relax life.
And how long have you been in Hawaii?
Over 28 years.
28 years, amazing.
I got stationed there with the Army.
Wow, that's incredible. And thank you so much for your service. And being the Detox Doctor, you know, you live in Hawaii, but you have clients all over the world. Yes. And you do retreats and you do events. Share a little bit about, you know, kind of what you do for people.
Right, so the biggest complaint that all doctors say is they do not have patient compliance. And that just means the doctors tell their patients what to do, but the patients go home and don't do it. And so I thought, well, how can we get around this? Let's get everybody together, like I did in the Army, and we're all living together, and I can watch what they're eating, when they exercise, how they do everything. And so that's what I decided to do, as I have a retreat, which sounds better than boot camp. And so we have this lovely retreat, and it's a week long, and we do some things like fasting, but we also, and there's a reason for that. And people get nervous and they're like, oh, I don't want to not eat, I'm going to be hungry. But it isn't like that. We've had people that were raised in an orphanage, and they went to bed without food. And so they made a vow to themselves, I will never starve again. And she was terrified, this one particular patient, of being hungry again. And when she went through the detox retreat and we had her on a fast for 7 days, she was not hungry and couldn't believe it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was neat.
So you're actually putting into action a lot of the things that people should be doing to be healthier, cleansing their body, being detoxed, and losing weight and gaining muscle, everything that we want to do to be healthier. But instead of just giving them a recommendation and giving them the steps to do it, you're actually helping them immerse themselves and get used to it, so when they leave the retreat, it makes it simpler for them when they're back home.
Yes, so we give them all the information to take it home with them, but they've experienced it, and I love the word immersed. They have immersed themselves in it, and by doing so, what happens is the mental clarity that they can focus and get rid of the brain fog. They definitely lose weight, which is fantastic, which is a great side effect. That's not why I want people to come. I want people to come to be healthy, but hey, if that's a benefit,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, lose the weight. Anti-aging, they actually reverse the aging process while they're there. And we can prove that using a Class 2 medical device and measure that.
How does that work? Explain to me.
We have a scale. It's called the Omron scale. It measures 7 different areas. So it measures the visceral fat, which is a dangerous fat. It measures the body fat percentage, and it measures your age, the way that your body thinks how old you are.
Like from a cellular level?
Right.
The aging of your actual cells, which is your body composed of.
And it's pretty shocking when you get somebody who's, say, 48 years old, and they get on the scale and it says 78. And whoa, that's a wake-up call.
Wow, this is really interesting because I've heard, I mean, everybody wants to be young as long as possible, right? Everybody wants to be healthy and fit, and detox is obviously one of those main areas because you have to cleanse yourself before you can start getting healthy. So in this retreat, not only do you teach them, do they immerse themselves, but they actually can see the results that they're getting by doing this?
Yes, because what gets measured gets managed and monitored. So we are measuring all this day one, and then they can see they're losing weight, they're gaining the muscle, right, skeletal muscle, but they're reversing the aging process and releasing the excess fat, because through the body fat percentage, and that's the weight loss is the body fat. But then they're also looking at the visceral fat, which is the dangerous fat, and seeing how that's reversing as well.
Wow, and you said something called brain fog.
Right.
And for me, being an entrepreneur and a business professional, you know, I can't afford to have brain fog. Right. So explain to me a little bit about how, because that alone, I would go to the retreat just to make sure I have zero brain fog and really have clarity, because that's how you can produce more. So kind of share a little bit about how those results come about.
Well, there's two ways that the body can, two types of fuel that the body uses. It's either sugars or fats. Sugars is the typical way, the typical standard American diet. And that's where you've got carbs and proteins that break down to sugars and that give your body fuel. But you're missing a very important nutrient, and that's fat. And you can also use fat as a fuel. And by doing so, then you're giving your body ketones, your brain ketones, and that's going to have you the mental clarity that you want, as opposed to the glucose or sugars.
And obviously we're talking healthy fats.
Right.
So you teach people what are the good fats that you want to be.
Not donuts and chips.
Got it.
Right.
Which is all sugar, right? So it's,
but there's fats, there's trans fats in that as well.
Got it. Now, besides the retreats where people are immersing themselves, 'cause I know you do it a few times a year in different locations throughout the world, but you also have online availability for people to get this information and learn how to do this in their own homes, right? Can you kind of share a little bit about that?
Yeah, not everybody can get away and break away from work or family obligations, things like that. And so we try to reach more people and have more access to the information that I offer through detoxing and diet and such like that. So we have online programs.
Awesome. So anyone can just plug in, watch the videos, read the different sections, and learn how to do what you teach in your retreats as well.
Exactly. And everybody learns in different levels. Video, audio, reading. So we have all these different ways that they can learn how to detox properly and the proper diet for them.
And after your events, and if people have been on your online programs, I know some people have special questions or need special attention. I know you offer limited, but you offer some private coaching as well?
We do offer private coaching, private consultations with myself or my team, which the team costs a little less. They don't have all their doctorate degrees like I do, but they're very helpful. They've been through the programs a lot, and it's just an accountability partner for them, so that's really good. But then we also have an online community through Facebook and through Voxer, and that's a great way to stay in touch with everyone that way as well.
I love the word accountability. And in business and in anything that you're trying to accomplish, accountability is key. So the fact that you guys have that in your program and you've created a community to support each other, I think that's phenomenal, because it's really about getting your end result, right? And if people want to get healthier, want to get more fit, want to lose weight, whatever it is, you need to be able to utilize all the resources to accomplish that. So I love that you've kind of put all those pieces together, so whatever amount of assistance they need, it's available.
Right.
So that's great.
A lot of people will try detoxing at home on their own without a professional helping them. And what happens is they can release the toxins, but then they're released throughout the body, and they were in a nice safe storage spot, and now they're in the bloodstream, possibly crossing the blood-brain barrier, and they just don't leave the body. It makes the person very sick. It's called a Herxheimer reaction. So what we do is we use the binders, because the toxins are positively charged and the binders are negatively charged, and they'll pull the toxins out of the body the whole way. And then there's certain binders for certain areas. You want something small like alpha lipoic acid to cross the blood-brain barrier, and then maybe a nanoparticle like a zeolite to cross intracellular. But then you'd want your heavier binders in the gut like bentonite clay or activated charcoal. And so this is why it's important to have a professional helping you detox and doing it properly, safely, and effectively.
Well, I definitely will agree, because I understood probably about 10% of what you just shared right now. So clearly you are an expert in what you do, and you've been doing this for many years and helped thousands of people. If someone wants to learn more about your programs, your retreats, or get in contact with you, what would be the best way to do that?
Well, the best way to reach me is on my website, drandreamills360.com.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Dr. Andrea. I look forward to visiting you in Hawaii in one of your retreats.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us on today's Premier Experts. I'm Ray Perez, reminding you to never leave for tomorrow what you can do today, and always stay true to your brand. If you or anyone you know is an expert in a particular niche or industry, we would love to have a conversation about potentially being on the show. Just visit todayspremierexperts.com, click on Be a Guest, and fill out the form.